Let's go to Senator Bill Hagerty. The Tennessee Republican sits on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Senator, very good to have you. Thanks for joining us.
It's good to be with you, Neil. Here from CPAC today.
Okay, got it, Senator. Let me ask you, we were speaking up to a woman, and she represents so many Ukrainians. She's holed up in a shelter with her 3 young children. Her husband is fighting on the front, so to speak. And she wants immediate aid, but she wants military help. She wants soldiers. She wants NATO to realize the threat that's going on. That would appear very unlikely, but you would know more than I. What do you think?
Well, I certainly appreciate her sentiment. I think the Ukrainians feel very much left alone. A lot of tough talk, but not a lot of action. We had the opportunity, Neil, to impose sanctions on Russia early on. We should have done this months ago, weeks ago. That would have had an impact of deterrence. Now what we're talking about are sanctions that may have some impact in terms of penalization, but it's not going to have any deterrent effect, obviously. And we step back and say, what caused this? What precipitated this? Well, it's the very myopic green energy policies that the Biden administration started back in January of 2021 when we declared war on the oil and gas industry here. That elevated energy prices around the world. You know, Vladimir Putin and Russia, one of the largest producers of energy ever, that windfall has come to Putin. That windfall has basically fueled the war machine that Putin is now deploying on Ukraine. I can understand why she feels vulnerable and left behind.
All right. Well, there were a lot of Republicans. Maybe you were saying this at the time, to implement the sanctions immediately when he was just building forces. It's a moot point now, Senator. But I am curious then, if the president does, twist enough European arms to take Russia out of SWIFT and all of this, there are many people who feel these kind of actions, even the actions we're considering against the Russians on energy, is going to lead to higher prices still. And I'm wondering whether the Senate, whether you in particular, are open to options to deal with that, or whether there should be a push to drop the federal gasoline tax, for states to drop the gasoline tax, their own gasoline tax, to open up the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Are you open to all of the above?
What that indicates to me, Neil, when they talk about opening the Strategic Petroleum Reserve or dropping the gas tax, is that the Democrats are finally realizing they're coming into an election year. What they should do is go back to the energy independence that we established in the prior administration. They should be announcing today that we're reopening the Keystone XL pipeline, that we're going to be drilling on federal lands. We need to become energy independent again. That puts us in a position to come to the aid of our allies, not just driving up prices around the world and fueling Vladimir Putin's war machine.
Do you really think, though, Senator, that whether gasoline and oil prices were high or not, that Vladimir Putin wouldn't have done this? In other words, they didn't rock it. I understand what you're saying, that it's the currency he uses to do what he does. But he was doing all of this and building and getting very provocative in his actions long before any of that was going on.
Well, certainly we started the oil inflation early on in this past administration. But if you look at what happened between Putin and President Biden along the way, the very first negotiation that they encountered was the New START treaty. The previous administration held back on that START treaty because we were trying to encompass more of Russia's vast nuclear arsenal to get more for it. Biden came in, gave him a 5-year extension for nothing. The next thing, you had Russian hackers hit the Colonial Pipeline. There were 0 consequences for that, Neil. 0 consequences. Instead, President Biden comes with a list of 16 industries that Putin should not attack. Again, what sort of resolve does that demonstrate? In the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, these were congressionally mandated sanctions that Biden waived. Putin's been dealt a face card by this administration.
But don't these go back, Senator? I understand where you're coming from, sir, but if you think about it, you can go back ever since the fall of the Berlin Wall, and administrations that sort of guessed at Vladimir Putin and the Russians in general wrong. I remember George W. Bush saying he looked into his eyes and was very hopeful that there's a chance for us to find common ground. Putin took advantage of him. He took advantage of Barack Obama, yes. And back and forth over presidents of either party. Is it safe to say that we as a country underestimated him and are ruining the day?
Yes. Neil, I think you're exactly right. I think this approach that you just described has been quite naive, and I don't know why people didn't wake up in 2014 when Putin stepped in and took Crimea. Again, He's looking for weakness. Your previous guest talked about him, likened him to a shark that's looking for blood in the water. What he's looking for is weakness. And I say after the fall of Afghanistan, he saw weakness on display like never before. So you've got Putin stepping in and again striking at a point of weakness, and you've got his friends like President Xi standing in a position that essentially is encouraging it.
All right, Senator, thank you. I know you're at CPAC right now. Keep us posted on how things are going there and reaction from those attending that conservative conference.